Hello, everyone, and welcome to Transatlantic Watch Party, where Dan and myself, Cara, watch something separately and then get together to chat about it. Normally, we've watched a TV show, so this is new for us. Dan always talks about movies. I tend to talk about TV. But this week, we are talking about the movie Backdraft, because our usual show, 911, is on hiatus. So we thought we'd carry on with the first responder firefighter theme and watch Backdraft, which I've not watched for 100 million years, and you haven't watched for quite a while either.
I think I've watched it fairly recently. It felt pretty recent. Like I've definitely seen this movie a lot. As I'm watching it, it feels like very much familiar. So I've seen this film quite a bit over the years.
All right. No, I think I've only ever seen it once before. I think I was sort of young enough for it to terrify me. And my main memory from it, the only real thing I remember when I was watching it this time, turns out is a massive continuity error. So, the glee, I was overjoyed.
That's awesome. So like something that something you remember from when you were younger, even back then you remember the continuity error.
No. I didn't know it was a continuity error. It's the only thing I remember. I'll tell you now, because you've seen the film. I'm not spoiling anything. It's the body through the windshield. He doesn't land there.
Oh yeah, no, I noticed that as well. That's right.
But I didn't know that when I was a kid. I was just like, oh my God, that burnt to a crisp man sticking through a windshield, and I was just horrified by it. But now I'm like, he didn't land there.
Yeah. I was a teenager when this came out, and so I think my most memorable scene that I remember when I was younger was the two of them getting it on top of the fire truck, the fire truck taking off in the middle. I really just remember that part.
By the way, was a plot on 911.
Was it? Okay, yeah, there we go. Inspired by Backdraft, I'm sure, and I'm sure I was thinking that too as I'm watching this, going, this movie must have inspired like a bunch of those shows. I don't think there were a lot before this came around. I was looking back on some, maybe we should watch some of the old emergency shows. Like there's one literally called Emergency, ! Which is like in the 70s. But I don't think there've been a lot of those. And then in the 90s, they came along, obviously ER was a big one and that kind of stuff. But as far as firefighter-centered shows, like this is something that really...
We had, in the 90s, one of my favorite shows. We had a show... Oh my God, London's Burning. And that was about the firefighters of, you know how like 911 has the house and then they have like the A shift, the B shift, the C shift. This shift was called Black Watch. And then I think maybe the other shifts were like Blue Watch and Red Watch. I don't know. Maybe in a way to not make one of them feel like the best shift and one of them feel like the third string shift.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine that the people on the C shift, in 911 are like, well, my chopped liver. So first of all, I didn't know it was a Ron Howard film.
Yeah, and I think this is like a pivotal film for him because before this he had done like Willow, I think was the movie. I don't know if he'd done anything after between Willow and this one, but like from this, he went on to do some huge movies. He did like Apollo 13, and of course all those ones with Tom Hanks about the religious symbology. I don't remember what it was called. Da Vinci Code. He did the Da Vinci Code movie. Yeah. Oh, like 3 of those movies. But like this was one of his first big kind of action based movies. I think. You do research into it, but it was it's so good. It's so well shot. And it's just a very, very well-made movie. And that's something I find that is common to Ron Howard films. They're always well-made. Right?
Yeah, those fire scenes are intense. They are infuriating in many ways. But the way the fire moves, that's the thing I remember being scared of when I was a kid. Like, just that sucking, when they go in and they go, it's in the walls, get sucked back in. That is absolutely terrifying. What I don't get is both Robert DeNiro and Kurt Russell both talk about it as though it's alive, and that's fine. It is. It's, breathing and eating and doing all that stuff. That makes sense. Yes, it is alive. However, it's not a frightened horse. When they're like, don't, Kurt Russell says at one point, don't show it, you're scared of it. And I'm like, Now you see, that really doesn't make a difference to fire.
That's true. Donald Sutherland also calls it an animal, right? He also feels like it's alive too. Ronald. I wasn't sure how you
I
wanted.
love that. I loved that that Donald was playing Ronald. That made me laugh. But also, the other thing, the minute it started that I didn't realize, I had forgotten that Robert De Niro was in it.
The cast is absolutely incredible. When you look at the cast on paper and see like everyone who's in this, it is so good. Donald Sutherland, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Rebecca De Mornay in like a little bit part, but she's really good too. Like some very, very, and Scott Glenn, of course, in that.
And most importantly, can we just say, the little boy who plays Sean, his name is Beep.
Is it really?
Yep. According to IMDb.
Oh, there you go. I thought it might be fun to kind of ask. I'm trying to different things with ChatGPT this week, and I thought I'd ask it for it to break down like a scene by scene breakdown of a Backdraft, to give me like something to follow along with.
We don't ask ChatGPT things, Dan.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? You're right, because I'll tell you why. I just wanted to bring it up.
Number one, it lies. Number two, it uses so much water. You know.
Oh, that's true about the water thing, but yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing, and I'll never use it again. I promise. Because it told me it does break down like some of these things, and it's not correct in some of the other ones. So, like Brian, we start with Brian, played by William Baldwin. It doesn't say any of the actors' names, by the way, in this. Didn't tell me any of that stuff. William Baldwin plays. Oh yeah, no. But first we have the opening scene, which is like them as kids, right? That was the first.
Yes, Chicago, 1971. The things I noticed about that were, number one, they ride on the outside of the fire truck. There's not seats like. So many of those firemen are standing on the outside of the fire truck. That's bonkers. Also, the fact that Kurt Russell plays the dad and the son. I was confused when he died at the beginning, because I was like, he can't be dead. He's like one of the main. Everyone talks about in Scream when they killed off Drew Barrymore, or in like Psycho when they killed off like the main, name character. You're like, oh my god, that's incredible. And I was like, oh, did they do that in Backdraft? And then, oh, he popped up again.
No, it was his dad. I think that's brilliant. I really like that. I like that opening scene when he goes along with his dad, and then they got that iconic. Although, I didn't know if you were going to call this a continuity error, but like at the end of the sequence when their father dies in the fire, and he's today.
You're going to talk about something that is a pet peeve of mine.
Is it like they show the photographer taking the photo, but none of the photographs are from the angle that we see the actual photo of the life. He's on the cover of Life magazine, and it's him looking up like this. But the photographer would have had to have been up where the dad was on the balcony to get that shot, right? He would have had to be looking down at him.
It's literally a shot from the film. The crane camera pulls away from him. You get that exact shot in the film, and they've used that, and that is something I despise. It really pisses me off when they use a shot from an angle that does not exist in world.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that so much. It's so cheap. It's one of those things that makes me go, do they think we're stupid?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, in the end, they probably just said, oh, that looks like a better shot. I'm like, sure it does, but try and get the photographer that you've got there to take something that's closer to what you want. Because you see the photographer, he takes like one from the side, and maybe that would have looked good. Like, try that one out and see. Anyway, it was just a little nitpicky thing. So that's the kind of the intro, and then we flash forward to however many years later, 20 years later. It's
20 years later.
Right?
Yep.
And so, and Brian is graduating from Fire Academy, right?
Yeah, on the second attempt, as we learn.
Yeah. He's tried it again, but flunked out before. And that kind of reminded me about, like, the funny thing is that what got us on this conversation was, around this topic of this movie, was the training montage that we saw in 911, whatever, last week or the week before. And there wasn't really much of a like, I thought for some reason part of this movie was them in training, but it's not. It's just drilling. So they call and they're drilling on that stuff. But it's like they've already graduated at this point. They've already gone through all the training and stuff. They just
but they are still technically in their probationary year, so they can still like sort of fail out. they're not fully members of the fire department yet. And we do get a montage later. We get the drills, but then we do get a proper late 80s, early 90s montage of music and them chasing chickens, which has also happened in 911. And
That's funny. I wonder how many things they get from that. Anyway, just to come back to one more thing to ChatGPT. What it tells me is that, after this whole part here, and we learned that Brian has been assigned to his brother's company, right? As he's graduated, he wants to go to this other company. It's whatever, he's bribed somebody at the Queen's of Scotch or whatever. And then we learned his brother has manipulated things to get him to join his company. ChatGPT says Brian meets the crew, Lieutenant John Adcox. And it says quiet brooding. That's Scott Glenn's character. What is his name? Axe. They call him Axe, right? Right. That's the thing. Tim Krizminski. Kriz. I don't know who Kriz is. Do you know who Kriz is?
His fellow probationary officer.
That's the kid.
Meet him. Yeah. He's known him for ages.
Right. It says Kriz though. Is his name Kriz in the movie? I don't know. ChatGPT's wrong about that.
Yeah, I think his character's surname is something like that. It's just people call him Tim, Big Ears, Pretty Boy, a lot of things they call him.
And then it also says, ChatGPT then says the next character is Ronald, comic relief. I'm like, Ronald is not the comic relief, and Ronald is not part of this crew, ChatGPT. And then it says Shadow as the driver. I'm like, what are you talking about? So this is where it goes off the rails. And then I'm gonna not look at it anymore. But this is like it took some characters and some things from the movie, but then just kind of grouped it all together into this one thing. Yeah. And that's completely wrong because Ronald, of course, is Donald Sutherland. He is the pyromaniac arsonist who's in jail. They go visit later, and then Shadow is Robert DeNiro's nickname. I heard some people call him Shadow, not just Donald Sutherland, but some people in the
and I thought that was horrible of them. Because the reason he's called Shadow is really distressing. So it's because of the explosion that was caused by Ronald that left his shadow on a wall. That's a huge amount of trauma, and it seems like maybe you shouldn't bring it up every time you see him. But equally, maybe he's like owning the name. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he's taking it on. But when the first colleague called him that, I was genuinely taken aback. I was like, oh my God, that's a horrible thing to bring up every day. I did look up because I sort of thought that Donald Sutherland might have been nominated for an Oscar for that part.
Mm.
The kind of part that especially like in the early 90s. I mean, we did always have Oscar bait dramas, definitely. But late 80s, early 90s, we've got some like popular films being nominated for Oscars, and like I looked through some of the things in the early 90s and the late 80s, and I'm like, oh my God, like Working Girl got nominated for Best Picture, and I get so excited because it's one of my favourite films. But so I did check. He wasn't, sadly. They were nominated for all the special effects stuff. I think they probably won them. But
no, I think it might have been the year before that, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Right? Like this was Anthony Hopkins.
It did the big five, didn't it?
Yeah. But this, honestly, when I'm watching Donald Sutherland in this movie, I'm getting yeah, for sure. He could have done Hannibal Lecter. He could have done his own take on it. Like, he was so good in this. You're right.
He was so good. I was so glad they went back to him.
Yeah.
Because I thought that one scene might have been all that we got with him. Two scenes technically, but before his parole board and then during his parole board. But going back to him, he was just brilliant. And he was playing a guy because Jennifer Jason Leigh was playing a Jen and then Donald was playing Ronald. So I was just like, oh, this is just really fun. Can I just say something overall about William Baldwin?
Uh-huh.
There's something a little bit Keanu-y about him in this. Like, he's a bit Keanu Reeves in Speed.
Okay.
Well, something like that sort of just quiet, stoic-y sort of every now and again blowing up sort of feel to him. Because a lot of the time it was making me think of Speed.
Mm, that's interesting. I thought he was just a very blank face for one of them, which fits with Keanu. But is he,
so,
you know,
kind of so is Keanu in Speed.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And whether you think that William Baldwin was completely like this is nothing, he's dead behind the eyes, you know, but which Keanu definitely isn't. But I just thought vibe-wise, there was something similar about those two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they would have been contemporaries, right? They would have been at the same age, same time, coming up in the world with these movies, and would probably maybe be even competing for roles, right, at the same level, like those two guys. I mean, Alec Baldwin was certainly much more famous than William, but he would have gotten some roles based on his brother's fame, right, or that kind of thing. Clout.
Yeah, I was looking into the three of them because it is three, isn't it? Stephen, William, and Alec.
Daniel, do the fourth one. Daniel Baldwin.
Is he also an actor?
Yeah, he was in a TV show called Homicide: Life on the Street.
God, okay, wow, okay, I've read that book.
It's a good series, a good TV show, and with Andre Brower, and that's the only thing I ever saw him in, though. Like, I don't think he actually was ever in a big movie star. He's kind of a heftier, huskier, looks like a hefty Alec Baldwin, basically.
Yeah. But I was looking, and I was like, I didn't look deeply into it because all I really know, I know Alec Baldwin from Now, you know, like 30 Rock and, you know, accidental shootings. But I only know, was he a big film actor in the 90s, Alec Baldwin? I don't know anything about him.
You mean William or Alec?
Alec.
Alec did like Hunt for Red October. He was starting to hit his stride in that at that time, and started to go into other stuff. Like he did The Shadow, which is one of his 90s movies, I think. Remember The Shadow?
Never heard of it. Don't know that at all.
It was like the adaptation of the old radio play, a radio drama, The Shadow. It's like an old 1930s superhero. I don't think it was very good.
Oh, cool.
He did it. Anyway, that was Alec Baldwin was the bigger star in the early 90s. But we're getting off track. We should get back to the movie with William Baldwin, the blank-faced stoic William Baldwin, and then Kurt Russell, who I think is amazing. Kurt Russell is just an incredible actor. He's been so good in so many different things. And in particular, I really love his injured, like in the scene where he gets really, really badly injured, and he's like kind of wildly looking around, like, what's going on? I don't know. And he was doing that, and I'm like, that's great acting. He really genuinely did not know what was going on in that moment. He not necessarily because of his injury, because of all the other stuff happening, right? It was good. He's a very good actor.
Yeah. So the first thing, one of the things we find out when they're in the bar celebrating their promotion from the academy, we meet Jen for the first time, and we learn that is an ex from 6 years ago. Now, later on, he goes on to have sex with her on top of a fire truck, and they, obviously are hooking up, these exes. In the meantime, Kurt Russell's character is separated from his wife, incredibly hot Rebecca De Mornay, and they end up, later on, having some shenanigans. And I'm like, these men cannot move on in their lives. Like, they've never got over this firefighter thing. They've never got over these women.
Very true, right? And she has moved on, by the way. she's at at one point we see them at the fireman some retirement dinner, and she's there with another guy who's just a jerk. Like, what?
Yeah. Also, is he a firefighter? Because otherwise, why is she there? Because that's a bit weird. Like, why turn up to your ex's like work thing? You know, so I assumed that she was with another firefighter. But then when she's having that discussion with Kurt Russell about like, I just can't do this. Like, I can't be scared of you going out to work every day. We've got a tiny son named Sean, whose real name is Beep. But like, and I was like, aren't you dating another firefighter?
Exact same problem, right? The exact same situation. Person's also putting his life on the line every single day. Maybe not to the extreme. I think the whole point of Kurt Russell's character in this film is that he goes to the extreme. He doesn't wear his mask when he's supposed to. He doesn't wait for backup when he's supposed to. He doesn't do anything. He just right into the fire. I part of what I think about his character is that he wants to die. Like he does have a death wish. He does like hope that the fire will take him young, like it's his dad, so he doesn't have to worry about it. And every time he goes into that fire, he's just like, all right, here we go again. And he just goes in there hoping this is going to be it.
Which is fine, but maybe don't take your entire crew with you.
Well, that's the problem, right? Yeah. Maybe he hasn't realized that this is what it is, right? And he just is doing it. But yeah, did Tim survive? Do we determine Tim survived?
Yes. He's gonna be okay. And I was like, I don't know that he is.
He's very badly burned. Tim got very, very badly burned in that fire.
Yeah, I always thought from the very beginning, I was like, oh, Tim's a goner. You know, they're gonna have to kill somebody, and it's gonna be Tim. And also, like when they're celebrating in the bar, they see the fire truck go past, and they all like chase after it, be like, yeah, real fire. And I'm like, Tim's a bit too excited about fire.
Make us proud, guys! McCaffrey, that's my cousin's company. Come on.
They're all drunk at the bar, and then they all go fight the fire or something like that. Oh no, they were just
fighting. They don't fight it. They just go and hang around and watch. And also, it's for Tim, it's his future crew because he knows he's been.
Right. This is the 17. Yes, that's where he was.
So it's kind of even more exciting for him. But it made me think of the thing in 911 where Athena was like, "People don't join up for the danger," and I was like, "Tim's joined up for the danger."
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common with firefighters. I think a lot of them do join up for the danger because that's part of the job, right?
You've got to be a bit of an adrenaline junkie. You've got to be a very sensible adrenaline junkie, but you're not doing it if you don't, surely.
I mean, did you notice the high instances of smoking in this fire crew? Like, everybody smokes.
One of my favorite shots, I wrote it down after the first official call that Tim and Brian go on to the fabric factory.
Right.
There is an absolutely brilliant shot of I think it's Axe standing in the smoking remains of the factory, lighting a cigarette, and he's coughing because of the smoke. And then he lights it, and I was like, "That is that's pure cinema." God, it does that.
It's great. I love it.
Things that we discover early on in the film, we discover that Kurt Russell is now living on a boat. That's nice. That's classy.
That's a pretty good, solid 80s trope. Characters living on a boat happened quite a bit in the 1980s. So I like that. Yeah. And it was like not even in the water. The boat's like out of the water. It looks like it's being painted. Like he's midway through fixing it up to sell, well, he says he's going to sell it at one point in the movie, but it's not fit to sale right now. Basically, the whole thing, right?
It's not seaworthy.
Right. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
It's barely bedworthy, to be honest, from what because he's like sleeping on a shelf. You know, it's not fun. And also we learn that Brian has a crappy car, which is also standard for these kind of movies. And he runs on his first day. He runs all the way into work, and when he arrives there, not sweating a little bit, not even a little bit of sweat on his shirt. That is an incredibly fit man, or he's got a problem. He's got some kind of medical issue where he doesn't sweat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, just under the arms. Come on.
Or really make him run. Make him do a couple of laps. Work up a sweat. Come on, William. Work it out. I think you read by Billy, too. He was also known as Billy Baldwin for a while. Billy.
That's good, because I wrote down Billy Baldwin, and I thought, that does sound familiar.
But in the film, I think he's credited as William. So he hadn't decided yet at this point. Yeah, and but then he does end up going and joining the crew. That's when they go to the factory, right? When when he decides to run and jump on to the final truck and he's part of the crew as they go there.
Yes, he does that. That's the only way I think we ever see him getting on a fire truck. He's always running after it.
Yeah, he is. You're right. Every time. And just kind of joining on just for the hell of it, because he's not ever part of it. Well, no, he is officially part of it, but no.
Yeah, he's either late or he's just fucking joining in, which I don't think you're allowed to do.
Or you have a sector on top of the truck and you just happen to be there anyway.
And then my first question when we get to that first fire. Well, that's a lie. My first question was, why are they breaking the car windows when the fire is in the other direction? Like, they did not need to break those windows to get to that fire hydrant because the fire was the other way. But still, always very fun to trash up a car that's parked in front of a fire hydrant where it shouldn't be. You are allowed to do that as a firefighter, and I think that must be great fun.
I think that might be the point.
Yeah.
Not want to be a continuity error. It might be like they would do that anyway because there's a guy fighting by the fire hydrant. Smash the windows and move on to the fire. That's the first.
So, the first thing I saw was him going in without oxygen, and I was like, oh, God. This is going to be one of those films where nobody does anything properly and it's going to really piss me off. I say with my no years of experience as a firefighter. But
9 years of experience watching 911.
Yeah, years. Yeah, and then before that, London's Burning. So I know everything. And he does say to Brian at one point, save your fucking air, man. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But that's still not... But what I was really pleased about was that you see his crew complaining about the fact that he wasn't wearing oxygen.
Yeah, and he's known for this. Look what I mean. He takes risks. He doesn't go by the book. He doesn't feel like he feels like he's either invincible or he doesn't care about himself enough to do it. And so everybody acknowledges this at the beginning that this is a problem.
Yeah, and then later when we get the Tim incident, my favourite thing was Brian. Well. Another thing that I'll come to later that came into this, but Brian says, I should have been there. And one of the guys in the crew says, none of us should have been there, man. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant to show that they'll follow him anywhere. There's, like it's chain of command and whatever, they're like a little army with water, but they know that he is like off the rails. He thinks he understands fire so well that he can beat the odds with it. Although, as you say, I do agree. I think he'd be perfectly happy for it to take him out. So I was glad that his team was like, yeah, he's a jackass. And then, of course, we get Tim and one of the other guys being sent off because they're told that there is a civilian still inside. And Brian hears someone crying out. And he goes and picks somebody up. And the minute he saw the body, I was like, it's a mannequin! Oh my God, this is going to be so embarrassing. And of course, the mannequin is dressed the same as the woman they rescue, which, for absolutely no reason, that's just like to compound the embarrassment for him.
Actually, I think it's to confuse the reporter who later misreported on what happened. I think they did that because the reporter, later on we find out there's a story written and they think that Brian, William Baldwin's character, rescued the woman that Tim rescued with Ash, right? And I think that's part of it. Yeah, she is dressed the same.
You are absolutely right. I'd completely forgotten about that. Yes, that's how they make that deliberate mistake in the press.
Probationary fireman Brian McCaffrey, on his very first fire, showed the kind of bravery and courage of a veteran firefighter when he risked life and limb to double-check a burning floor alone. Emerging victoriously was Anna Rodriguez, a seamstress for the North Shore Clothing Company.
Hey, Axe, get a load of this shit!
Find out that fire that the fire department is experiencing cuts, which, when are they not? And the ex-Jen works for the guy who's doing the cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And we see him sort of getting into it with, what's his face? Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Alderman, I don't remember his last name now. Swayzak, yeah. It's one of those, I don't know, it just seems like a bad guy. Alderman Swayzak. He's that I don't know that actor's name, but he's a really prolific character actor.
TJ Hughes? Is that him?
I think so, yeah.
And he was that guy, I know that guy. And then I looked him up and I was like, I don't know where I know him from. But I think it's because I know him from everything.
He's from everything. He's in so many things. Pleasantville, A Few Good Men. Just I could go on and on. Like he's
Not seen.
Anyway,
I did know the guy who played Tim, though. I was like, I really recognise his face.
Oh, yeah.
And I've only just recently watched the first series of Bosch.
Okay.
And he's one of the main guys in the first series of Bosch.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, that's where I know him from. Then we go back to the fire station, and the most exciting thing in the film for me happened. We met the Thing.
This better be good.
Yeah. Or we feed you to the thing.
Friday, convention center board members moved to reassure local communities they wouldn't be asked to ante up more funding.
You guys got something against Dalmatians?
The filthiest, scraggliest fire station dog I have ever seen, and I would die for him.
Yeah. Love it. I love the line. You guys got something against Dalmatians? Like, it's such a great moment. I love that. The whole thing they're doing there. It's such a funny. And then later on, he makes friends with the Thing. He does. The Thing does.
The Thing climbs into bed with him.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Fine. So the Thing.
I think the Thing is obviously my favorite character. Immediately. What a filthy dog.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. We have the retirement party thing. And can we just say, all through this, Kurt Russell is giving Billy Baldwin the hardest time.
Yeah. He doesn't want him back. He's kind of thinking that first of all, he's already convinced he's going to quit again. He's trying to make him quit, it seems, by making it super hard on him, being super hard on him. Just being a jerk to him every chance he can get. They keep bugging him about, like, they have the dummy there at dinner. They bring the mannequin.
Yes.
Right, so they keep the. No, that's like a natural gag. That's I think a really perfect gag. You could see that kind of thing happen in the One Team as well. If somebody were that,
Absolutely.
like that kind of thing, but he gets really upset. I don't know why he gets upset. Like, he's just leave me alone, guys. He's just getting all worked up. And then also, of course, when they're drilling, he's like, get it on your shoulder. And he's like, you're doing it wrong. His whole thing is, you're doing it wrong. That's his whole match.
Well, to be fair, he should have had it on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That was a much quicker way of carrying it. It was much improved. And then him and Kurt Russell race up the stairs, and Kurt Russell falls, and he's like, run, goddammit! Because Billy Baldwin turns around to check if he's okay, and you're like, that's both of us dead now. And then they get up on the roof, and they're like, ooh, look at each other, and then they're both laughing,
That was very nice. Like, run, Jim, and they just start laughing at it, and just like, oh, man. And then they have a little bit of a moment where they have it out, like, this can't, we gotta, stop, get off my case or whatever. And he does want him to quit. He's convinced he's gonna quit. And kind of does. He kind of does.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about Billy Baldwin, Brian McCaffrey, and the way that he is about firefighting. Now, I know firefighting is like in his blood. His dad did it. He saw his dad die while he did it. He's been through the academy once and dropped out. But when he quits, first off, he takes that job with the inspector. And my thought is, wouldn't the inspector want someone with a little bit more experience? Because how many actual fires has Brian seen? Someone says to him, I think it's Jen, must say, you miss it. You miss it. Because he's showing it. I think this is just before they have sex on top of the fire truck. She's like, you miss it. I'm like, he didn't last a year. Because that, you have to, it's as I understand it, it is a year of probation. He didn't last a year. It's been a matter of, he hasn't been doing it long enough to miss it. I should have been there when it happens, when Tim gets blown up. Again, you are a probationary firefighter. He seems to have this very grandiose idea of the kind of firefighter that he is. And it doesn't come out like on the scene. He's fully prepared to learn and work and, but it's really, like, they really are quite heavy on the whole, he's meant to be a firefighter and he's born to be a firefighter. And so he misses being a firefighter even though he's only done it for 2 weeks.
you know, because that's what he should be doing. Well, if he should be doing it, why is he quitting all the time?
He's afraid because he's afraid, and his brother is amplifying that fear by getting on his case. And in the scene, if we can jump ahead to the scene where he does fight the fire, in the very, very like intense scene where he actually has to grab the hose. First he like takes the fire extinguisher and knocks off the top and throws it. I didn't know you could do that with a fire extinguisher. It's just
That's the best bit. That is so good.
so cool. So then he runs in there, grabs the hose, and he's like, and the whole time I'm going, yes, fight that fire, fight that fire. He's fighting the fire, fight fires. And he's like, and then Kurt Russell's like, that's my brother. Look at him. Like, he's fighting. He's good at it. He can do it, right? He just has to let go of the fear. I think that's the whole point of that. He has to just go into it and just fight and be like, and then you see the fire along the floor, and he's like, gotcha. And he like goes after that fire, and you can get that fire.
It's not showing it that he's afraid, and therefore he will be victorious because fire knows if you're afraid.
No, because he's not actually afraid. He's pushing the fear away. But that's the way how Kurt Russell thinks of it, right? He's like, yes, don't show you that you're afraid. How about don't actually be afraid? But anyway, that character, I think it's a great character overall. Like, his performance isn't the greatest, but it's a good character for the movie, and it's obviously the audience is along with him as the person learning all this stuff. So it's
And I think he's sort of the straight man of the film, you know.
Yeah, I like how he bounces between Kurt Russell and Robert De Niro's characters, right? Like, he goes up with a little gist to that investigation. Now that becomes the movie. Now we're in the investigation part of it, and that was really interesting to me. I really liked the whole scene where Robert De Niro's like spraying the why do they have lighter fluid sitting around these investigations, by the way? Do you know, I wonder about that.
I don't know, but it seems something he was keen on using.
Yeah,
at the beginning I was like, why is he like spraying like olive oil?
Well, it looked like olive oil. Yes, it looked like something in a little squeeze ball that you'd use for salad dressing. Anyway, but no, he just wants to do a nice little soliloquy on fire and demonstrate what it looks like while he's talking about it, and that's why he did that.
He's like, it doesn't respond to physics. I'm like, it fucking does. But
you have to.
Can I just say the bit when Brian does quit? Kurt Russell has been saying to him, I do it my way, Dad's way. And Billy Baldwin says, Dad's way? He tell you that in a seance? Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, we have like the other side of it. My main question about the investigation was, as soon as he knows it's arson, doesn't he hand it over to the cops? Like, isn't that his job done? It seemed really weird that he was like, I'm not gonna tell anyone, shh, because we have to know who did it. And I'm like, no.
No, you don't.
Obviously, that keeps it all in film. So, you know, that's why they did.
In 911, they would turn it over to Athena Grant at this point, and she would do a growing investigation. That's why that show has all the different parts of the emergency team. So, yeah.
The one police person in, you know. No,
De Niro,
Officer Williams.
Yeah. De Niro is very, very good. Like, he is just such a good actor in general, but just playing like he's not doing a character. He's just himself. He's just a straight, like a regular person kind of thing, right? Like, you don't get to see that too often. And but there's some lines like the one I love. It's like the alderman gets in the car with him, and he's asking, the alderman's super like anxious about the murders, wants to know what's going on, and he's pressuring him to come up with the answers. And he's like, he calls him, he's called Don. He's like, I need answers, Don. He's like, well, I don't have them, Marty. He's just like going, because they're on a first name basis now, apparently. Like, Don, what are you talking about? Like, this is a great little moment. There's some great parts like that in this too.
Yeah, it's a good script. It's got some really good moments. What? Oh yeah. The thing, the Dad's way is that, did you find that out in a seance? That's after we've had what we would all consider the money shot of the film, because basically Kurt Russell, it looks like he's going to go the way Kurt Russell did earlier in the film,
right?
Because he goes in to save a kid, which is what his dad did, also played by Kurt Russell. And, you know, and then we get the big fireball moment, you know, and then he walks out of the door with all the fire behind him and the smoke, and he's got the kid in his arms. And I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the moment that they probably weren't the first to do it, but that is the moment that every fire drama has.
Yeah.
You know, we had it recently in 911 when Buck walked out with a dog. That was like, we've had it before with like Eddie Diaz and a kid, but the most recent one we had was Evan Buckley with a dog.
Hey, it's okay, buddy. I got you. Hey, we got a runner. Fuck! Hey, buddy. Hey, come on. Where are you going? No. Come on. Here, boy. Come on. I'm not gonna hurt you.
I had no idea that we were gonna find out that DeNiro's character, like all the scars on his back, you see him changing in his office, and you see all the scars on his back. And I had no idea that was going to be, you know, I didn't see that coming at all, that he was like a firefighter who had been.
Well, that was
Seemed like maybe he had to quit because of those, or, you know.
Well, I assumed it came from the fire that Ronald had set, right? That causes Shadow. That's why anytime I would be upset anytime someone called me Shadow, because it reminded me of all the scars on my back.
Yeah.
Like that's why that's a bad nickname.
It's horrible. Stop calling it that.
We assume, yes, I assume that because of those injuries, that's when he moved into the investigation part of the job, where he started investigating the causes of fires instead of putting them out.
And of course, the thing is, the central premise is there's a mystery who is setting these fires. Now, the minute the credits came up and it said, and Robert De Niro, I was like, he did it. And then we saw him and he was the investigator, and I was like, oh, so he knows how all of this works. He could totally be doing this. And then when we first go to the boat, we see that Kurt Russell has some stuff on his boat that the fire department was getting rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire inspector says, you know, oh, it's got this stuff in it that was discontinued 2 years ago. And I'm like, what's betting it's in the stuff, you know, that's the stuff that's on Kurt Russell's boat. And I never guessed it. They red herringed me beautifully.
Oh, good for them. I
did not know who it was until we knew who it was, and I was like, oh God. No, it's Scott Glenn, I knew. I should have known that.
This is like knowing for me, this is like knowing that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Like, this is just something I just like, it's like Scott Glenn. First of all, Scott Glenn is an amazing actor. And I was thinking about this. He's been in almost everything. He's even been in, because he's done Marvel and Star Wars. He's done Marvel. He was in a Daredevil, either movie or series. I don't know what he was, but he was in one of those two things. I think he might have been in the movie with Ben Affleck. But he's still Marvel, still counts as Marvel. But he's not done Star Wars. But Scott Glenn is so good as an actor. I just don't buy, like, in the moment where they confront him over why he's doing this, he's like, they're killing our friends for money or whatever. He just keeps saying that line over and over again. It's something about that is like, you just gotta have more to it than that, right? You just gotta have more of a reason for this. It didn't seem like enough to me.
Well, I don't know. I think the reason I did buy that is because the way that firefighting is presented to us during this film is a calling, you know, you are born a firefighter, you die a firefighter. And so I can imagine with the cuts that were happening and it being like for nefarious reasons and skimming money off the top and the money going into their own pockets, that those are his brothers. You know, like I can understand that the people in that community getting so invested in that community that that is your full identity and your family. And so I would buy that. The only thing I thought looking back at when I should have realized it was him was they had that shot specifically when they went into that high-rise one, which, by the way, they shouldn't have taken the elevator up to. I was like, what are you doing? then I thought we're definitely in Speed because it's going to crash and they're all going to die. But there's a shot specifically of him kind of getting out of the fire truck and looking up at the building, and it's very pointed and it's very focused, and I was like, that's when you're meant to figure it out, and I didn't, and I'm really...
Well, I think you're meant to figure it out when he's trying to stop Kurt Russell from going in. Like, you can tell he knows something. Like, no, we should wait for backup, right? And he can't get him to stop.
Genuinely read that as just the crew once again knowing better than their lieutenant does.
Yeah.
I did not. Nope. I was absolutely. There's, I spot a lot of things a million miles away, and this one absolutely defeated me. And well done to everybody involved.
I have to say that I never really truly thought about the plot of this film until now, where like the reason for all this, like the alderman has cooked the books. He's made a fake expense report or something to show that there's that it's not necessary to have all these fire stations open because he wants to shut them down and he wants to convert them into community centers or something. And then a construction company that he owns part of or something that he has a stake in will get the contract. And like that's a lot of stuff that has to properly for that to be successful. Like it's got a pretty corrupt system if he's ever getting
over here right now, we've got a local council that is run by one political party, and they want to close some of the council-run old people's homes, and that means that those homes are going to have to become private. And who is on that council and works for that company? A man who owns private old people's homes. So, like, it happens every day. Like, it's not at all surprising.
Yeah.
I genuinely did think when Jen walks into his office, when she's sort of been tasked by Brian to, like, dig into the books a little bit, and she doesn't want to do it, because bless her, she's just got this job. she's like getting good money for the first time in her life, and she wants to, she wants that to carry on. And when she walks into his office, Alderman Swayzak, and he's facing away, I was like, oh, he's done himself in.
I thought so too. Yeah, he's dead. What was he? Was he supposed to be like all unkempt and like drunk or something? Is that what he was? Okay, I didn't really get that vibe off of it. His collar was a little loose. He was still wearing a suit, like he was still dressed,
But his collar was a little loose.
Yeah.
For the alderman, he's gone. But yeah, that's what it turns out to be. Is the alderman was in on it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, so is he killing them? Why would he be killing them? I was still...
Yeah, for a minute there, you're like, if he behind this, and you're like, no, he wants to find out who's doing it because he feels like he's next.
Yes.
That's what he's worried about. My thing is, though, if you're discovering this, and so he discovers that all these guys who are also part of this, like the accountants and the financial people who helped him fake this report, he targets and kills them all. I would just like, why don't you just report it and have them arrested, please? And then the alderman is shut down and he's disgraced, and then you get your funding back because they realize that the report is fake, right? Like,
yes. And I do like the idea of that happening, but I think he goes, well, who am I going to report it to? I'm going to report it to the alderman. Like, or I'm going to take it to the press and they're going to do an internal investigation. I can absolutely see why, no one would, his first thought wouldn't be like, let's go to the corrupt people and see if it fixes it.
You're right about
also,
the press.
Don't kill people.
The press thing, though, that's why they had that misreported article to show that you can't trust the press. They had that article at the beginning where they show that Brian saved the woman when he didn't. And so, of course, Axis isn't going to trust that. Not going to check the journalist. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. It works on many levels.
Then they do arrest him in like the middle of a press conference, which is chef's kiss. Just a beautiful thing.
I love that, eh? You walk in there at the end with that. Yeah, Robert DeNiro, he's great in his arm sling. It's a fantastic film. Like overall, like it's just such a great movie. I feel like we're all over the place in this discussion, but that's okay. It's just
but that I feel like with a film, if we did go through it beat by beat, we'd be here for 4 hours because so much happened.
Yeah.
I did manage to keep my notes down to 1 page, so I was like, I wasn't as detailed as I am, during a 911 episode. When they realise that it's Axe that's been murdering people and causing property damage and trying to kill Billy Baldwin and, seriously damaging Tim. When they discover this, Billy Baldwin's like, yeah, we have to tell the police or, take him to the fire inspector or whatever we have to do. And Kurt Russell says, I'm his lieutenant, I'll handle it. Again, no! No, he's murdered people. I don't know what you think you're going to do about that. Were you just going to have a chat with him and he's never going to do it again? The people are dead. And I just thought it was such a, brilliantly stupid, but completely believable in world, that they would be like, I'll handle this.
Yeah, well, they can't. They need it because plot, right? But that's why they need that Russellist, because he's got to go after him alone and confront him alone on the top of a burning building that's falling apart under them. They're gonna have this argument, and then of course that's when the Brian's gonna show up as well, and just the three of them are gonna.
Yes.
It's an incredible conclusion.
And then we have the set piece of all set pieces, that chemical fire. Now, first of all, number one, as Billy Baldwin arrives on scene, as again, not a firefighter, there's no insurance for this man. He's just a civilian. He's in his jeans, and so first off, he arrives and you can hear the announcements. This is a chemical fire. Wear your breathing apparatus. Oh, yeah. None of the firefighters that we see are wearing their breathing apparatus. Billy Baldwin climbs up a ladder that is at this angle. It's nearly vertical. And then as he gets to the roof, it's at this angle. And I'm like, what happened there? And then the last thing, there are fireworks in this chemical plant.
Look out! Come on, this way!
When you see all of the explosions, there are full-on, really obvious fireworks. Like white sparkly ones and red ones.
Okay.
And I was going, okay, because sometimes you see fireworks all the time in these kind of situations. And they're like a little thing just to give it an extra oomph for whatever it is that they're doing. But these were, it genuinely looked like a fireworks factory. Like they were storing fireworks there because there were so many of them. And it was so distracting to me, like that there'd be this really huge dramatic moment and then like shimmer, 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 shimmer down the side of the screen. So yes, but other than that, oh my God, butt clenching stuff in that factory fire. And I was trying to work out like how much of this is real and how much of this is effects, and because it's so good.
Well, yeah. And at the time, like CGI was not very good, right? You could not do this stuff with computer generated stuff at all. So I think a lot of all those I think they just it's a lot of composite shots, and a lot of stuff with the fire wasn't actually close to the actors, not as close as it appears to be. But I think all the fire is real in this. Like they shot.
Yeah. Because that's what I started thinking about the fireworks. I was like, now, the fireworks, when the actors are in there and they don't have all the fire, is that to show them where the explosions are happening and they set off a firework? Maybe. And then they just don't scrub it out of the film. They go, the fire's covered most of it, and they don't take it out. And I was like, I wonder if that's why you have fireworks. Like, oh, wee! So that you have something to react to. Yeah. But yeah, no, they didn't do, because I remember when, like Lord of the Rings came out, when Fellowship of the Ring came out, and they had the Balrog, and they talked about how difficult it was to create fire for the Balrog, and they had like write a whole new program and like invent fire, like, So yeah, I'm not sure that in the early 90s they were really rocking the whole, CGI fire stuff. It was really good.
Yeah.
And also this film, the other thing I remember from this film is that it taught me to touch a door.
Oh, well, I knew that from like fire videos when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I think this was my fire video when I was a kid. They were like, all right, everyone, they were just like, we were in school one day and they went, everyone go home and watch Backdraft.
I actually think I did watch it in school. I feel like I did watch this like as like in high school, last day before summer vacation or whatever. We're gonna watch a movie in class. I think this was one of those movies. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite full on. We watched like Mr. Bean.
Oh, we wouldn't know. I had one teacher who liked to show us serious movies. One year we watched Batman and the Little Boy, the one about the nuclear, the Manhattan Project with Paul Newman.
Oh my God.
Like that in high school. My teacher's like, you guys don't need to learn about this. So my teacher was like, you need to learn about the real world. Paul Newman.
That's incredible stuff. Let's just skip to the end of the film.
Yeah.
At the very end of the film, we see him because Kurt Russell does not make it.
No. Very good. Yeah. No, but Axe, we just see him go boom, done, and he falls and his back is broken. Like,
we see him like, his back, like absolutely,
the dummy that is him, like he bends in two over that barrel. It's horrifying. It's fantastic.
Kurt Russell, Stephen, he falls and he lands on a really well placed. What do you call it? Padlock? What is it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like yeah. But
so,
and I'd never really got like where his injury was or how he got it, but I didn't care. I was like, that's fine. I don't need to know.
It looked real gross, and he like and made lots of good faces when he was like dead, when he was dying, and it was a good death scene, really good death scene. Like, again, he's a very good actor. He can do a good death scene. So
he is also very sexy. He's a very attractive man, as Kurt Russell. But yeah, so we see Brian like clearing out his locker. Oh my God! And can I just say, when you had the service funeral for the two guys, because Axe got the full works because nobody told him. And I'm like, maybe you should at least say we found out. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, because otherwise they're still going to think a murderer's out there.
Yeah, it's an open case. It's still an open case.
The amount of firefighters, I was like, I really hope nobody in Chicago is having an emergency right now, because there were thousands of them. And it was quite distressing to see how many there were. Brian is clearing out Stephen's locker, I think, and they get called out for an emergency. So what does he do? He grabs a coat, he grabs a hat, as he wants to, and he runs after the fire and he jumps on now, and he corrects like the new probie on like how to do his jacket up and stuff. And I wrote down, you can't just keep going on calls, Billy Baldwin. And then I noticed that he was wearing a candidate helmet.
Oh, yeah.
So I wondered, has he actually gone back? Is he doing his probie year?
Yeah, maybe.
So, possibly. Then an end title, because, it pans up to the, cityscape. And so the end title says, there are over 1,200,700 active firefighters in the US today. What it doesn't say is, and all of them were frustrated by this film.
And we would just like to say to all of them, we are sorry.
That's a weird way to end. Like, give us some more information than that. Like, just naming the number of fire. Like, this is how many people are like this. This is allied exactly like that. Like, what are they trying to say with that? Like, how many die every year? How many risk? Like, this is also, I don't know. It's just a little more context would be nice.
Yeah, because it seems an odd thing.
Yeah, because they were they made a film about corruption. And then the announcement at the end is like, some people have a job. Well done. Good for them.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been, yeah. There's so many firefighters who are facing cuts every day. Support your local firefighters. That would have been a better message, right? Like, tell your city council to fund your fire department. That would have been the good message.
I mean, I suppose that they don't want to give us everything on a plate. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we're meant to infer it, but it was just a very weird, just dead end to the film. It was really funny, and yeah, all it made me think was, I bet a lot of them don't like this film. I bet a lot of them go, why are they going in there without their breathing apparatus? Oh my god, why are they using a lift? Oh Jesus Christ, what's happening? And then can I tell you about my favourite thing that I saw on IMDb about this film?
Okay.
I was looking it up because I wanted to look at the other goofs, you know, to see what everyone else had spotted. And my favourite mistake that was listed was, do you remember when Sean / Beep was making the eggs for breakfast in bed for his mama? And I don't even know how old he is. He's a small child. And he says to his dad, I'm experimenting.
You want to really put some, grape jelly in the eggs?
Yeah, it's part of my formula. It's an experiment.
It's an experiment?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get these eggs going.
Hey, I want to do that.
Can you do them?
Yeah.
That's good. That is good.
I'm going to put that in the formula.
No. What about the shells? Are you going to leave the shells in there?
Yeah.
They're part of the formula?
Yeah, they're part of it.
I guess you know what you're doing there.
So he's putting eggs in, and he's like, and he chucks the shells in, and he goes, oh, they can stay in there, I'm experimenting. And he puts some grape jelly in there. Because he's experimenting, and he's a kid. They're not going to take that up to his mum in bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, his dad's just letting him do what he wants. And he's just going to let him stir it up in a pot. And then he'll take it up to his mum and be like, oh, we made you breakfast in bed. That's what kids do, and that's how parents cope with them, as I understand it. But one of the mistakes is, somebody's written in, mistake. No kid would ever put grape jelly with eggs. I mean, I'm annoying, but you're a dick.
That was felt like a very heavily improvised scene that he was just like kind of saying, all right, you're in this scene with your kid. He's just gonna make a formula, and you're just playing off of him. And he's like, hey, just let him do whatever he wants, Kurt. You know, what's that? What about the shells? The shells are okay. And he's just like, yeah, that's okay. Dump that jam in there, whatever that is. Twice. There was 2 shots of him dumping more grape jelly in there. And I'm like, and they, yeah, keep going, kid. And then they leave the kid by himself with, I hope not a stove that's on. I hope that he's not actually going to cook those things. Because if it's in a can, like, just, make sure that you cannot turn the stove on, because that's not going to smell good when it starts cooking. But anyway, that was a fun scene. And yeah, the kid was really cute. I thought they did
I like that he didn't recognize Brian, like they hadn't seen Brian.
That was funny. That part where he's like, remember this? Whatever he said, we don't need no...
We don't need no broccoli! And he runs screaming to the house.
That was a good moment too. Yeah, I like that. That was great.
Yeah, that was really fun. But yeah, I thought it was a very enjoyable film.
Mm-hmm. I think widely recognized as the best movie about firefighting. I can't think of a better movie about firefighting.
Well, now you see, I don't know about that, because there is a sequel to Backdraft that was made in 2019, and apparently it's terrible.
Well, do you want to watch it then? Shall we watch it?
I was like, yeah, we should totally watch Backdraft 2.
Okay. Backdraft 2, Electric Boogaloo. I said that for every movie with the 2 in it.
Is that actually?
Yeah. Backdraft 2. I cannot believe they made a Backdraft 2 with William Baldwin in it.
William Baldwin's in it, yeah.
And Donald Sutherland, it says.
Yes. So, and I think it's Sean. I don't think he's played by Beep anymore, but it is Grape Jelly Boy.
So William Baldwin, Joe Anderson as Sean McCaffrey, Donald Sutherland. Wow. Yeah, let's watch it.
Okay. Yeah, that's very recent, actually. Well, I mean, 2019. It's very recent to me.
It says released directly to Blu-ray and digital on the 14th. So it was not No theatrical release.
Yeah, and I think like on IMDb it had like 4.9 or something. So
Cool. Okay, let's watch it for next week.
that should be fun. But yeah, it did seem like, we should definitely watch Backdraft 2.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
All right, we'll do that next week. What else have you been watching?
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of Speed, you brought up Speed, and one of the great actors in that film is Jeff Daniels. And Jeff Daniels is in a limited series on Netflix that I just finished watching called Godless. Have you heard of this? Or have you seen this at all?
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I must admit, I got a bit upset, and I didn't watch the rest of it because it was sold to me as like, this is a town where men don't live, and I was like, oh, brilliant! There are so many fucking men in that show.
Yeah.
And so I was like, do you know what? I thought I was going to be watching something different, so I didn't watch the rest of it. But did you enjoy it?
I did. It was really good. And to be fair, you're right. Like it is it's supposed to be this town. The town is where these women, all the men worked in a mine and they all die at once in this mining accident. So then there's no man left in the town. The women are left to fend for themselves. And that situation is interesting. There's a lot of interesting things that happen. But I guess it does. There are some really great moments. I love all these actors are really good. Were you introduced to Whitey? Did you? I don't remember the actor's name who plays Whitey, but he's this child actor who's now grown up and he's really, really good. And Jeff Daniels plays the villain. Jeff Daniels is Frank Griffin, who's the bad guy, and he's like the worst villain I've seen.
Is he the one that Scoot McNairy or whatever his name is he the one that the sheriff is going after?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was excited because Merritt Weaver's in it, and I think Merritt Weaver should be in everything. So
who he play?
She's one of the she's like the and again I didn't get past episode 2, so I don't know, but the potential lesbian in the
confirmed later on in a few episodes later. Yes.
Marvelous. Yeah, and I think I love her to pieces.
She's the one from Severance, the one that plays. She's in Severance as well. Have you seen Severance?
Yes,
one of the characters in Severance.
She's in Nurse Jackie. She won an Emmy, I think, for Nurse Jackie, and she got up on stage and she went, "I have to go," and then she just walked off because she was going to owe someone money if she cried.
Oh no!
And so she was like, "I'm going to cry, and I don't want to pay their money," so she just left.
Hilarious!
Magnificent! Well, brilliant speech. That's exactly the length of speech that we like. So, all right, okay. But have you reached the end of Godless then? You've enjoyed it?
Yeah, Godless is done. It's very good. It was like possibly the best Western I've seen in years. And I really do enjoy. So there's a few of these limited series on Netflix that I've really liked. I also saw the one Death by Lightning, which is the one with Michael Coleman.
I am excited to watch that.
Okay.
Because of a very odd reason. There is a musical called Assassins, written by Stephen Sondheim. And it's one of my favourites. And my favourite song in that show is about Charles Guiteau.
Oh, okay.
Is the Charles Guiteau song. And so when I saw somebody like a film and TV guy talking about Death by Lightning, and he was like, "This is a fantastic series. It's so fascinating because who's ever heard of Charles Guiteau?" And I was like, "He's my favorite assassin."
Well, then you'll probably really like it. You'll like it. I never
love Michael Shannon. I think Michael Shannon's wonderful. So
and the actor that plays Charles Guiteau is the actor. I don't know the actor's name, but he's in like Deadpool and Wolverine. He's also in Man in the High Castle. He's always played these little bit parts. He's been very, very good. I'm blanking on his name, but anyway, that's a great series too.
Have you seen Adolescence?
Not yet.
Because I just watched the first episode of that, and I have to admit, I'm definitely like, oh my god, wow, like it's brilliant. I am slightly less convinced it's done as a one shot. Every episode is one take.
No, it's made to look that way, but it's not actually. I think they've done some tricks.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't care for that. Like, and not in a sort of in general. I just don't. The first episode did not convince me that that was how that it added anything particularly brilliant to it. It's very clever. But it's one of those things where I kept thinking, if they'd done this like a normal way, we could have solved this by now. You know, like, and again, that's kind of the point, you know, and it is that sort of like, there's a lot of sitting around and there's a lot of stuff, but whenever they do something like this, I get too caught up in the technical stuff of like, oh, they've had to sit in a room for this long and they've had to do this, and you know, so that's you know, and like, oh, this camera work's really interesting, and what have they done here, and how has that worked, and you know, really, I get all caught up in the technicalities of it, and I know there is a documentary about how they did it. So I'm sort of like, okay, I'm going to watch Adolescence so that I can watch the documentary about how they made Adolescence. But it's very, yeah, it's like I say, I've only watched the first episode, but it's gripping.
Yeah, I bet. I think that's the intent behind the one shot, is to keep you focused on what's going on, and cuts would take away from that. However, to me, the one take is only impressive if it's real. It's a real one take that you were actually spending time on and going 10 minutes or however long, like that's in the Son Goodfellas. Well, I mean, not when it's the entire show, but I think generally speaking, they tried, like a lot of films will try to do it, and they've done, a lot of films have done it well. But
I mean,
like this,
Birdman definitely fake. Rope only fake because of the amount of film that was available.
I hear it.
So there's one cut in Rope, yeah, when they ran out of film, because that happened.
And now
Birdman, you can tell where the cuts were, because they'd go like into like somebody's back and then come out of it, and you'd like, hey, it's a cut, brilliant. They don't do that in Adolescence.
No, it's all CGI. It's all like AI stuff, and they can blend the stuff together and do weird things. I think. I don't know. I'm assuming this stuff because these days it all seems like magic to me, and I feel like they can just do anything they want.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, I swear I heard somewhere that they did like 4 takes. They'd start, you know, they'd do in the day, they would do just 4 takes.
So still very long takes. Okay.
Of just no. Like, they do the thing 4 times.
Okay.
And whether they then like edited some of those bits together, but they did film it, as I understood it, in one go, and it's very doable when you watch it. It's all in a very small environment, you know. It's pretty much all in the police station, so it's just going down a corridor into a room, down a corridor into another room. So it's not, they're not going anywhere, like they're not doing anything fancy with it. So yeah, so now I'm gonna look into it now that you said that, to find out whether
wrong though. I would be completely wrong, and they could have done it all genuinely, and good for them. That'd be good. Oh
yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing that I'm gonna watch next, is the rest of Adolescence, I think. Oh yeah. And then other than that, we are gonna watch
Backdraft 2.
Backdraft 2. Out of interest, what out of 5, what would you give Backdraft?
5. 5 out of 5. Perfect movie.
Really fantastic.
Well, I know that
wow.
I think it's a perfect. It's got strong nostalgia vibes for me because it's been such like I've watched it so many times over the years. But I know that it's not a perfect movie because you pointed out some continuity.
Oh yeah, but no movie is a perfect movie. The movies I give 5 stars are not perfect movies.
Okay,
you know,
good. Well,
that's not why we give them 5 stars. We give them 5 stars because we love them.
That's right. I would give it 5 stars for sure.
Yeah, and that, you know, I would give Tigerland 97 stars, and I don't know that anyone else would say that about Tigerland, but I just love it. You know, so that's, you know, so I think it's a 3.5, 4 for me.
Okay.
But also there was the slight problem of I watched it in 2 parts.
Okay.
Which I sometimes have to do with movies these days,
mm-hmm.
which always does slightly, you know, I tried to pick the best point to stop it, but it always does slightly, you know, I have to take a nap in the middle of it. It does kind of take you out of it.
It's right around the middle of the movies when the sex scene happens on top of the fire truck. Is that when you...
It was before that. I think it was maybe just after like the punch up in the party.
Okay, yeah.
I think I was like, that seems like a good point. It was like an hour in. I was like, I'll do an hour now, and then I'll do like an hour and 15 later, So yeah, damn. But it was fun. I am kind of scared that Backdraft 2 is going to be terrible, but I look forward
I'm
to it.
looking forward to it now. I'm excited to watch it, and I'm excited to make fun of it. Why would they make a movie? Like, I just so many questions about this, but let's watch it and find out, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we should write down all our questions and see if they get answered by the movie. And I bet they don't.
Like, I'm gonna right now, fresh after watching this, I'm gonna write down questions of like where I would like to see these characters go and what do you think is gonna happen to them, and then we'll see how close I am with what they do with this character.
I'm just disappointed that they haven't got Sean played by a digitally de-aged Kurt Russell. Because that would be amazing. Because if the dad was Kurt Russell, and then Stephen was Kurt Russell, and then Sean was Kurt Russell. Like, imagine being Billy Baldwin and growing up with your brother who looks exactly like your dad. You'd feel like such a black sheep. You'd be like, he's obviously got incredibly strong genes. I think I might be the milkman's son. I'm not sure. And I clearly can't be a firefighter. I think he's not really. That's what we're going to find out in Backdraft 2. He was never Kurt Russell's son.
Oh no. All right. Well, stay up the feet.
Brilliant. All right, well, we shall talk about that next week then.
Sounds good. I'll see you later.
Bye.